Hi everyone, I'm your host Lila Enes, and this is the Frame Mind Podcast, a podcast dedicated to those willing to reach their high potential selves, wanting the highest quality of life, self-improvement, mental health, and self-development. In this podcast, I aim to deliver messages that will help you, that will motivate you, inspire you, and become the best version of yourself. And not just that, also aiming to be successful. So this is the Frame Mind Podcast. Let's do a little check-in. I wasn't really active for like 2 weeks. I was on a dopamine detox. Let me tell you, I recorded 2 episodes for my podcast, and sad story short, the quality of the video was bad. The quality of the sound was bad. It was like, and I was like, oh no, but the other episodes, right, didn't sound like that. And I was like, yeah, I'm not posting that. I was not gonna risk posting a video with really low mic quality, so I'm not gonna do that, and I was not gonna do myself dirty. Not just that, like, I've been sick for so long, I couldn't record podcast episodes. But yeah, I'm back to give y'all these messages and help y'all grow. Today's episode is gonna be about become and have high standards. This is gonna be an interesting topic because we like to be delusional. We like to have these really high standards that don't even meet our conception. It is so... I just thought about this topic because I have high standards myself, but it's because I have standards for myself as well and for the people around me, and I have to set those so I could be able to fulfill myself with, like, prosperity and all of that. So I really wanted to talk about this topic, me as a high standard girly. Let's go over the definition of standard. Standard is a level of quality or attainment, basically how much you desire. We have these standards that we are going to fulfill in ourselves. Now let's go deeper into what the real brief summary of having high standards and becoming these high standards. To become high standard means to constantly strive for excellence. It's about setting challenging goals for oneself and not settling for mediocrity. If you do not know what mediocrity is, it is basically like your modern position right now and thinking it's okay. And I don't settle for that. I don't settle for that. It's about uncompromising in the pursuit of quality and always seeking to improve, whether it's your personal life, your work, or your relationships. Having high standards can push you to achieve more and reach your full potential. Having high standards is about aiming for the best and working hard to meet them, not unrealistic, delusional standards, and not having perfect standards. Your standards are not going to be perfect. Those standards are not really going to be compared to the right perfect person, or for an example, the barriers you have in your life, they're not going to be perfect. So whenever you set these standards, make sure that they align with reality. We can't have standards that are way too unrealistic, because then that's what's gonna literally eat our delusion in. Because once you become delusional, you're basically becoming your biggest enemy, because you cannot align reality within yourself. So you have to have standards that are realistic and that you would actually make and accomplish. You can't have standards that you're not gonna meet or challenge yourself for. This is the most famous quotes out there that you should be applying. Lower your expectations, but have high standards. You're expecting so much out of something low. You're expecting so much out of something high. Lower your expectations, because nothing is gonna fulfill those standards right away. So whenever you lower your expectation of fulfilling those standards, you're actually just going with the flow of the outcome. And that's what you should be thinking about whenever you're having these high standards. You want something that's better for you when you're worst. Let's have this standard within ourselves. Your standard is, have this right attitude at a certain place. That's your standard, right? And you gotta meet it, or else you're gonna have like these really bad expectations. And one thing that in Atomic Habits, it talks about how our I forgot what it talks about. Oh, it talks about how our expectations determine our satisfaction. And whenever we have these standards, we have to lower our expectations, because if we're expecting so high, our satisfactions are gonna come to this low. And one thing that we as humans are always gonna have is the satisfaction. We want good satisfaction all the time, and that's why we set these high standards, to have this great satisfaction. But the thing is, to be able to have this great satisfaction, you have to have low expectation. If you're expecting some, like, I'm not saying, oh yeah, I always expect low, but you shouldn't be expecting so much, because whenever you expect so much, you're basically telling yourself, oh, I know what's best for me, I know what's gonna be for me, I know what the life is gonna bring for me. You're expecting unrealistic things to your life, because in life, let's be honest, it's not perfect. We're gonna fail, we're gonna grow. Life is just a journey. You gotta fall in love with the process to fall in love with life. So once you start acknowledging that we're living in a process, you're actually going to start valuing more of your life. And that's where it comes with, you got to value, you got to measure your value. You got to make sure that you know what's value for you. Whenever you check your value and you learn how to value, you're going to start realizing that you're deserving more. You deserve more. You are expecting more. The thing is, why people that are really worse or bad and they're expecting so high is because that's what they think they're meant for. They think they're meant to have such great abundance, great person, great affiliates. You gotta acknowledge and you gotta measure your value. Like, hey, I'm valued like this. I'm more valuable than jewels. I'm more valuable than anything. You gotta check your value, and what you gotta be honest with yourself. Okay, you can be like, oh yeah, I deserve this because I'm this. No, make sure you check your value wisely. You gotta measure it wisely. You have to put a very, very reasonable value. Okay, whenever you start analyzing over yourself, your body or your soul is actually gonna want an honest response from your body, and your body's gonna be like, hey, I am a bad person, or I have failed to meet these standards for myself, and that's where you're going to check your value. And that's where you have to working on your subconscious self to become the best version of yourself and to change your life. We're expecting so much, but we're in our lowest quality of life that we are not willing to change for it. We're not willing to put it. And whenever I was reading about what standards really are, or what they're meant for, right? These standards basically is like a challenging thing for us to meet. It's a challenge, and the thing is, we like it easy. You think that successful guy or that dream boy that you want in your life is gonna come to you? No, you don't even know how to attract that person. You don't even have the right attraction for this person, because right now you're at the lowest quality of life that you can't even get, or what's expected that you want to deserve. You think you deserve that type of person, when truly you don't even deserve yourself. You don't deserve that type of person. Your soul doesn't deserve that person that you are right now. Our bodies need soul. And you think that your soul really wants to be that person you are right now? No. Your soul wants something better, And your soul is going to have standards. Hey, I want you to take care of your body. Hey, meet the standards. You got to be up at this time. Hey, it's kind of like restrictions, goals, limits, whatever. But you gotta set a standard for yourself before you start setting standards around your surroundings. Before you start setting standards for the workplace. You have to put yourself in a standard position. So for you to fulfill it. That's all you have to do. Set standards for yourself. Become the high standards that you want to meet. Another quote that y'all should be thinking over is, be the standard you seek. You have standards or something to put a filter over you, okay? Before you can have these standards over people, you have to create standards for yourself, okay? I have standards for myself, and it's like, whenever I'm in public, my standard is, always radiate positivity. I want to project an energy that people can get and be like, oh yeah, that's the type of person I want to become. That's the person I want to be. You know, I always have these standards that I have to meet myself, you know, because if I don't meet them, one, I feel really bad about myself. Number two, I know I could do way more, you know. So that's where setting standards come in place, knowing that you deserve more, knowing that you can do more. So that's where you have to apply those standards. And some of y'all don't even apply standards because y'all are doing so many low things. Y'all don't think y'all need those standards to have, because you feel like you're good in that position when you're truly not. You need to do more. You deserve more. You deserve way more, right? But the thing is that you're undervaluing yourself, expecting something so high when you're at this bottom, when you're at the low. You gotta get yourself up to those standards and seek the standard you want to be. Seek the standard you set yourself to be. You cannot have high standards and become or be the lowest person. You gotta become that standard, and you have to have those high standards. Have high standards to protect you from low quality experiences. This is what you have to apply in your life, and this is what I like to apply in my life. That if I could set high standards, I will never perceive, or I will never go through a low experience moment because of the standard. Well, the standard that protected me from entering that low experience. Let's start with that. I just want to talk about like this low quality experience that I had, you know, and I'm sorry if I sound sick, but you know, that's what it is. So basically this low quality experience happened because I lowered my standard, you know. And one thing that you always have to know and you have to acknowledge is whenever you love, you never lower your standards. Your standards are never like, oh yeah, like this person I love so much, but I feel like I lowered my standards, blah blah. If you feel like you lower your standards for that person, that means that you were never in love. You know you deserve better. You know you can do better. That's the thing. You're aware. And I'm literally talking to myself right now. Like, you were aware, girl, but you were just dumb, delusion, and you just settled for less. You were cutting short. And so whenever I lowered my experience, or right after our breakup, right, I was like, hey, like, I did lower my standards, right? And then God revealed to me, hey, you didn't lower your standards. You were in love with this person, right? And I was like, yeah, I was in love, you know. But whenever you're in love, you never lower your standards because you're always focused on that person. You're not focused on the standards that they're meeting or fulfilling, you know. So for me, whenever I was revealed that, I was like, yo, low key, was I even in love? And it made me think. And this is where you have to think, was that person really worth valuing for your worth? Because first things first, for you to value this person as one, you gotta value yourself first. Is this person really fulfilling the quality and standard of your life? If not, rethink it. Because you can be in love, and that's what this generation is blinded with. Our generation is blinded with love. And our generation is basically gonna be like, hey, like, you need a person, or hey, I'm in love. You know, like, this generation is just a lot about novios y novias. And I'm just like, you know, like, I guess I gotta, like, I'm never gonna lower my standards I'm never gonna lower my standards for somebody. Never. I know what I deserve. I know what I'm expecting. I know what I want. And yeah, people can call me delusional, right? But I know that I'm a challenging person, so I know that I'm gonna work for it. We have pushed a lot of delusion. We have pushed a lot of standards that we ourselves cannot meet because we're over here thinking that we're already good enough. The thing is, you're egocentric and you're supposed to have these high standards for you to meet, but you're not meeting them at all. You're not challenging yourself. In fact, you're just saying all of this and you're not really acknowledging of what is meant to be yours. You gotta fix that area internally so you can have your external reward of that high standards. That reward, you want something that's bigger, you want something that's higher, become the higher standard. Stop being delusional, okay? If you continue and repeat this cycle of being delusional and always wanting so many things and not actually doing or working or challenging yourself for it, then at this point, just call it your dreams, call it daydreams. Daydreams are one of the most toxic things that a human being can inherit a trait from. If you keep daydreaming and if you keep being delusional, yeah, people could be like, oh yeah, be delusional, manifestation, blah blah, manifest whatever. But whenever you manifest, you're also gonna be working for that area in your life. You know, I bet if you were to get the dream boy of what you want, or that the dream friend that you want, or that dream job that you want, you're probably not gonna be better for it. You have to challenge yourself. You gotta be out there, okay? You know your values. Check your values again. Recheck and know the root of your value. Oh yeah, I know I deserve more. Every person deserves more, and you have to engrave that in your head. I deserve more. I need to do more. I have to do more. I want more. Gotta do more. You gotta continue the cycle of investing your time and trying to complete and meet these standards for yourself and around the circle that you have. Create boundaries for you to meet as well. And for you, you know the standard of your life, and you know the quality that you want in your life. And if you're not aware of what quality you want in your life, well, yeah, this is the podcast for it. But we got to wake up and realize that we're gonna grow so delusional over standards. You gotta set a standard reasonable for you. I'm not saying higher your standards so high. I'm not saying lower your standards, because most of us have lower standards because we think we don't deserve more. What I've realized, or what I was revealed, is that we have to be in this position, like in the normal state mind, like in the normal flow. Okay? We cannot be over here having these really high standards and also wanting or settling for low. We're settling for low because we cannot meet them high, meaning you're not challenging yourself enough. In fact, if you're gonna settle for low, you're easy. You gotta make sure that you're aware of who you're allowing access to your life, because basically whenever you have these standards, right, you're also allowing what energy comes to your life. Whenever you're having these standards for yourself, you're allowing what's going to come in and what's going to come out. Whenever you see these standards or have these standards, you got to seek them, and you got to also put the challenging work for it. And of course, my standards, right, I was working for it, and I knew that I was aligning with it. And not just that, the concept that I was having in growing up, right, I developed this concept of me having high standards. I do not deserve a man that is gonna literally treat me like trash, and even though he's like, oh, I've been treating you so good, bro, you can say that all time you want, that you've been treating me so good, etc., but I'm not gonna do you dirty, because I have a standard for myself to not have my power taken away from nobody. You're not gonna take away my power, so I'm not gonna give you any energy. I'm not gonna give you my energy like, hey, like this guy did me that, blah blah blah. No, don't be doing that, because that's gonna waste your energy. And another thing that we have about having standards, because I feel like this example was a good one, people pleasing, bro. People pleasing. In this generation, we people please a lot, and we don't see that because we just feel like, oh yeah, like this person deserves it, or I feel bad that this person, is not gonna like, I just want to be an open heart person. Stop feeling sorry for yourself, okay? Stop feeling sorry and be like, hey, like, I want you in my life. No, you gotta protect yourself from low quality experiences. Like, yes, have an open heart, open mind, or whatever, but you're allowing people that are not even meeting those like qualifications for your life. You could have protected yourself from so many things, but because of this open heart, open mind thing, you literally you almost ruined your life, and you gotta discern what is right and what is wrong whenever it comes to these standards, because some standards are really dumb and unrealistic and they're not it, and some standards are it and we fail to meet them. The thing is, you're in a constant rut. You gotta continually seek these standards. You gotta seek them, and you gotta expect from it. Stop trying to manifest the dream guy. Stop trying to manifest delusion. Stop trying to have these high standards. Be like, yeah, I'll meet them one day. Yeah, one day you'll meet them. Once you start challenging yourself and being honest with yourself, once you start being honest with yourself, you're gonna realize, oh, I do deserve this, or I don't deserve that. And then you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, I had really high standards I had dumb high standards, but you gotta create reasonable standards. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening to the Frame of Mind podcast. Make sure you download the podcast and make sure y'all share the podcast. And I can't wait for more future content. And that's it, guys. Bye, guys.